Josh, I want to talk about something really specifically today. What is it that makes a buyer buy and a tenant rent?
Such a great question. At the end of the day, it's a timeline. And it comes back down to an urgency factor that they need to have a roof over their head. And therefore, they need to do that in a certain timeline. And if they're in a position that they find a property that ticks the majority of their boxes, they will proceed at haste.
Yeah. I mean, I've had this idea when I've heard people talk about tire kickers and time wasters and so on. I think to myself, well, hang on, they all live somewhere. You know, this idea and although they may show up and give the impression that actually they're not really serious about things, could that be a self-defense mechanism to combat the over-enthusiastic agent? Could they be sort of presenting themselves as not really in that position? What's your feelings around dealing with people like that?
It comes back straight to the formula that Ari Weinsberg came up in his book, Bottom Line Change. That you need to make sure that you've got dissatisfaction and a vision, and also to be prepared to make first steps. Well, they're making first steps. They're dissatisfied with where they are, they just haven't seen the vision yet. So your role as a great estate agent is to show them a property that is the vision of what they want to pursue, and before you know it, they'll do a trade or transaction like that.
Yeah. So what's your view when it comes to buying before selling? So there was, when I was first being trained in the industry, it was very much the case that people would actually look to find somewhere first, then put their property for sale. And we were trained to try to actually get the client to put their property on the market first and then go to look to buy. My sense is in this country that estate agents have achieved that now, but I wonder whether the pendulum has swung too far, and actually we need to start getting people out and getting them engaged in buying activities in particular. Tenants tend to be more motivated by their circumstances, but certainly the discretionary buyer situation, actually get the sellers out looking to buy. What's your view on that?
So this is where great marketing comes in. That the property is seen in a place that the consumer didn't even expect to see a property and goes, I want that. And before you know it, they buy and they become a seller. It is actually dangerous to buy without having sold, because if you can get a little more for yours, then that might mean that you can spend a little more in the next one. Most people start in the brand name suburb and then work their way back. And so from that point of view, what you need to be thinking about is that when they go out looking, they can't find anything they want in their price range. You then show them the next suburb out. Before you know it, they're in a position they want to go and pursue that. They go to buy that particular property, they pay a much, much higher sale price, and then they're in a position to go and act. So I think what is really critical here is to understand what is the client motivation, and most importantly, why are they dissatisfied with where they live. Recently, we had a client who was working with one of their clients and asked a really simple question: what's the one thing you hate the most about your current house? And the client's response was, I hate the traffic. He said, tell me more about that. She said, well, I spend 2 hours in traffic every day just dropping the kids to and fro school. He said, well, what would that look like fixed? She said, well, if I could get a house right next door to the school, I wouldn't have to drive the kids anymore. So he rings her the next week and says, hey, guess what? We've actually just got an instruction on a place right next door to the house, right next door to the school. Oh, that'd be good, because then I wouldn't have to drive the kids. Great, when can I come and have a look? Oh, well, maybe you should come down about half an hour after school's gone in, so then all the traffic's cleared. So she comes down, has a look at the property, makes the decision to purchase, and then sells her existing one. And that's how it happens. You've got to find out what are people dissatisfied with and what are they looking to achieve? What does it look like fixed for them?
Yeah, and this is where I think this whole idea about clients being clients as opposed to current clients, past clients, future clients, they're just clients, and understanding actually that having continuous contact with them to find out what their dissatisfactions are, because they could have bought a house a year ago and actually found that it isn't what they thought it was going to be, that the dream that they had in their mind is not being delivered, or actually they miss things about their old place that they didn't realise they took it for granted beforehand. So I think this idea of continuous contact is so important, just to identify their circumstances, because they can change very quickly, can't they?
And that's exactly right. I think the thing about it is that all of a sudden they pursue a different vision, and that's ultimately what you need to do. Is you need to understand the difference between them meeting all of their criteria and also to meeting the budget. And the problem is that the budget is the budget. And like my mum said, the only way that you can increase the budget is that either you work hard, you're in a position to get a big inheritance, or you marry well.
Which one did you do?
All three.
Thanks, Josh.